This is Valley News Live at 10.
The guy turned around and you could see the inside of his neck. He had slit his neck with some object. Don't know if it was plastic or what it was. One of the other attorneys that was in there said that it looked like a pen, but his attorney had said that it looked like a scalpel.
We begin tonight with breaking news. We just found out that the man who took his life in a federal courtroom this afternoon was 55-year-old Jeffrey Ferris.
He was on trial for an April 2020 incident on the Turtle Mountain Indian Reservation.
Court records allege that he drove a Jeep towards several children and nearly hit them. Court documents also say that Ferris assaulted a person with a handgun. He faced charges of assault with a deadly weapon, reckless endangerment, terrorizing, and using a firearm in a violent felony.
Now, the person you heard from earlier did not want to be identified, but was inside that courtroom today. Valley News Team's Nashay Taylor has more details on what she saw.
It was extremely traumatizing. I personally have never seen anything in person like this before.
This woman was in the courtroom at the Quentin Burdick Federal Courthouse while the man was on trial. She says he was facing life without parole. According to the woman, the man's attorney asked to be released until he needed to report to prison or a 24-hour release, but the judge denied both. That's when she recalls seeing the man appearing to have had cut his throat.
He was fidgeting with his neck, with his left hand, and then all of a sudden he turns around and you can see inside of his neck. So there was blood squirting out of his neck. So
she explained the man may have slit his throat with a plastic object similar to a pin or a scalpel. As the woman was being ushered out of the courtroom, she said she could hear the man screaming he could not breathe.
Almost still in shock that something like that actually happened. It was gross. I don't even know how to explain.
The details of the incident have yet to be confirmed, as this is an ongoing investigation. In Fargo, Nashay Taylor, Valley News Live.
U.S. Marshal Dallas Carlson said the incident happened after the jury returned a partial guilty verdict against Ferris. For the latest updates, you can follow us on Facebook or visit our website, valleynewslive.com.
We have more breaking news for you tonight. A structure on the Green Valley bean plant in Park Rapids, Minnesota is on fire, and what a fire that is. It was called in to firefighters about an hour ago. Not much information has been released since the fire just erupted, but as you can see in this picture sent in to us by a viewer, heavy smoke and flames. Becker County tells us they have not received any report of injuries. Tonight in the Northern Valley, a man is in jail facing several charges after leading troopers on a chase. A trooper tried to pull an SUV over this morning for speeding on I-29 between Grand Forks and Thompson. After a short chase, authorities say Douglas Ryerson would eventually stop and then try to kick two troopers, biting one of them on the arm. On his way to jail, he jumped out of the patrol car window before again being caught.
A Fargo man is sentenced to more than 4 years in federal prison for his involvement in a violent robbery. Prosecutors say Tion Tyreek Berry, a group of young men and one woman, robbed someone who responded to an ad promoting prostitution. The victim planned to meet at a Fargo apartment to pay for sex, but instead say they were robbed by Berry and the others who had weapons. Officials say the group had planned to rob this person, thinking they wouldn't call police.
More than 12,000 pigs are dead after a fire broke out at a pork farm near Waseka, Minnesota. It happened last night about 10:30. Officials still trying to figure out how it started. One of the buildings at the Woodville pork product plant was fully engulfed in flames, and a second building caught fire shortly afterwards. It took 9 fire departments with 20 tankers to battle a blaze. They used an excavator to save a third building.
In tonight's Legislative Watch, despite making a last-minute deal, lawmakers in Minnesota will still need a special session. Lawmakers worked until midnight last night to reach an agreement on a $52 billion state budget for the next 2 years. Today was the last day of the regular session. Their agreement comes with no tax increases, hundreds of millions of dollars in tax relief for people who got extra jobless benefits last year, and businesses who received PPP loans. Plus, what's being called a historic investment in education, including money for summer learning.
where we were able to do pretty much everything everybody wanted with some compromise.
The special session will resume in mid-June, where lawmakers will have to sort out differences when it comes to more policy changes, like the eviction moratorium and what's next for the governor's emergency powers.
The CDC's new mask guidelines are encouraging news for some, but it's also sparking confusion and a challenge for state, local governments and businesses on how to handle the updated recommendations. Reporter Daryl Forges explains.
For the first time in months, many Americans are feeling mask freedom.
If you feel comfortable, then great.
But the CDC's sudden updated mask guidelines for the fully vaccinated left others apprehensive.
I don't think enough people are vaccinated right now.
It's very confusing for people. We have questions right now from our patients, from our families.
Many healthcare professionals, employers, state and local officials still trying to figure out how to handle the changes.
It was a little bit of whiplash for the American public in terms of them saying just a week before, keep your mask on, and then all of a sudden they're saying, now you can take them off.
Former Surgeon General Jerome Adams says leaving mask policy decisions up to local and state governments is adding to the confusion. The CDC says that the changes will be a slow process.
The science now shows that your vaccination protects you as well as being masked, or better than being masked. So you can protect yourself from serious illness from COVID by getting vaccinated.
Less than 40% of Americans are fully vaccinated, and many are still hesitant.
We don't have a way to differentiate those in public who are fully vaccinated from those who are not. So it definitely left a lot of us perplexed.
But some hope the mask guidance change will be the incentive those on the fence need to get vaccinated. I'm Daryl Forges reporting.
There may be more updates from the CDC soon. The agency's director says they're working on updating summer camp COVID-19 guidance now.
Essentia Health will be having a few vaccine clinics at its St. Mary's Detroit Lakes location. You can get a shot on Wednesday or Thursday from 8:15 in the morning to 3:45 in the afternoon, or on Saturday from 8:30 to 12:15. Both walk-ins and scheduled appointments are available. If you would like to make an appointment, you can do that by using My Chart or by calling the number on your screen, 833-494-0836. And if you're looking for other options to get the vaccine, you can use our VNL vaccine tracker. It's right on the home page of our website, or you can open your phone camera and point it at the QR code on your screen and then tap the link that pops up.
Even though the United States has seen a drop in the number of births, the census showed North Dakota growing faster than most other states. That growth was more a result of immigration during the oil booms rather than the birth rate. The concern among economists is an aging population may not be able to be supported without the younger demographics.
If your birth rate is decreasing and your Social Security retirees are increasing, and the percentage of your population that are seniors is increasing, you're going to put a continued stress not only on your labor force, but on your social programs in the near future, the next 20, 30 years.
The birth rate report came out shortly after North Dakota dedicated billions of dollars toward infrastructure and other in-state investments. With the next generation decreasing, there are questions over who will benefit.
Staffing shortages on both sides of the Red River continue to hurt local businesses, impacting bars and restaurants' hours and ability to stay open, with some forced to close altogether. The Ground Round in Grand Forks says they will be closed on Sundays for at least the rest of May, as they say it's the only way their skeleton staff can be guaranteed a day off. Meanwhile, in Moorhead, Legends Sports Bar says they cannot expand hours or open their new location until more people are hired.
We never want to overwork our staff, and so right now we're not at that point, but we never want to get to that point, and so they're feeling it.
North Dakota officials say there are 18,000 jobs open, and that hasn't happened since 2015.
North Dakota Game and Fish Director Terry Steinwand has announced that he's retiring at the end of July. Steinwand began his career with the agency back in 1982, was appointed as director in 2006 by then former Governor John Hoeven. The search is underway for a replacement.
Still ahead tonight, despite the drought, how an area farmer is trying to teach people about his occupation.
But first, Hutch joins us with the latest on rain chances this week when Valley News Live at 10 continues.